Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And I have this wonderful team that I get to manage. This is God's team. I don't take credit for this, but I have the honor and privilege of managing them. So I want to introduce my team to you right now. First of all, we have my faithful assistant, Faith Rollins. Faith was born and raised in my congregation and is now my lovely assistant. And for those of you who don't know, I'm not that good at multitasking. I can't stay on focus when I'm talking and type things out and look at comments. So Faith is the mini me, and she knows me well enough that she can respond the way I would normally respond. So thank you so much, Faith.
Of course.
And of course, she's also our singer right now. And also supporting me on the pulpit today is the wise and powerful Oz. Oz has been with me since like 1998, something like that. So it's been a good long amount of time for us. And I'm really blessed to have him as our practitioner on duty today. He'll be praying us in and out, and he'll be available for our 1-minute miracle at the back end. So thank you, Oz, for being here. Like I said, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to manage this team, God's team. And so also I would like to say, if you are here, please say hi, hello, good morning, whatever your preference for greeting us is. But it's our way of knowing who's here with us. We like to know who's here. It's not like I can look out in the congregation and go, oh, hi, so-and-so. You know, I can't do that here. So we really appreciate it if you would also do that. I want to thank all of you for being here, because I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we're really blessed that you're here with us. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Also, let's see. The music today, we don't know where the one song comes from. Lynn found it years ago. My husband found it years ago. And Tina did it the last time a cappella, and now Faith is going to do it a cappella at the end of the service today. And the other piece of music is from Karen Drucker. And so the topic for today, we've been doing the back to basics. For those of you who don't know, this is religious science, not Christian Science, not Scientology. This is religious science. And so we've gone to, in January, September and January, we always do the back to basics series from the first 4 chapters of our textbook. And the reason we do that is because if you're new to this philosophy, it's a great way for you to really understand what it is we teach. And for those of you who are not new to this, who've been around for a while, this is a great way to deepen into those principles. And also because we offer classes in September and January. So this is a way for you to know what kind of stuff you're going to be getting in class if you so choose to take one of our classes. All right, so the back to basics is the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. And so last week we did the thing itself, which is God, that embedded spirit of God within us. Today we're going to talk about the way it works through love and law. So that's all I'm going to say on the topic for right now. I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
The presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Presence of God through exciting times and boring times. God is always the same. God is infinite, ever present, eternal, and runs in and through all things and as all things. It creates the universe in its entirety in every given moment. It moves forward into greater and greater blessings as we can allow. I know this process is working right now. Good things are happening and are about to happen. For this presence, with its infinite power, is working to make the universe a better and better place, and continuing to be a perfect place, as it always has been, as it always will be. This perfection flows through each and every one of us right now and for all time. And for these blessings that continue to unfold, I give great thanks. I let this be so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. So if you'd like to have a watch party, meaning that you can watch this with your friends and comment back and forth, it's a great way to do that. You won't be bothering anybody like you would if you were actually in a facility. It's not like you could, you can talk all you want. But it's a great way for you to open a discussion with your friends. So click on that watch button and have a watch party on us. Let's see. The next song is by Ferry. Is a song that Reverend Ferry Elaine Silver wrote. We Are All One, which we do every week. We do a lot of music, as most churches do, because it opens our hearts so that it opens our minds. Okay. I just had to look at some comments, some private chat here. Sorry. And so this next song, if you know the words, sing it loud and sing it proud, because there's nobody to bother when you're at home.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
We are all one, for sure. Homatakiyasan, as Native Americans say. If you're here, say hi, hello, good morning. Let us know who's on with us. And if you like something that is said or sung, you can always use the thumbs up button. Let us know. We don't get feedback like we do in a facility, so we appreciate any feedback you're able to give us. And then if you love something that is said or sung, you can send us hearts. We love getting love. And of course, if something is really powerful or strikes you as powerful, please use the wow button. Wow button lets me know that I've hit my target. Or some of us, so one of us has hit our target. That could be Oz praying for all I know. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that we know that we are uplifting and inspiring you, because that's what we're here for, to get our message out into the world and to uplift and inspire the world one person at a time. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to play something from Karen Drucker. Karen Drucker is, she's been the music director of 3 of our churches in the movement, and has gifted us with her entire collection of music. And so I'm reasonably certain that Facebook won't shut us off if I play this video. If it does, Faith and I will do everything we can to get us back online. So stick with us if you can. All right, here we go. This is called If Love Is Why I'm Here.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive.
No, go on.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. Love is why we're here. Let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why you're here, may you be an open channel. If love is why you're here, may you give and then receive. If love is why you're here, may you be an open channel. If love is why you're here, may and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open chain. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open chain. Love is why I'm here. Let me give and then receive. Love is why I'm here. Let me give and then receive. Love is why I'm here. Let me give and then receive. Love is why I'm here. Let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive.
Oh my goodness. All right. So as I said earlier, in case you've just joined us, we are doing our Back to Basics series. In our philosophy, the first 4 chapters of the textbook are what it is, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. All of a sudden, I had a mind fart there. So last week we talked about the thing itself, and we said that, and please know that if God is not a term you're comfortable with, please put in place of that whatever it works for you, whether that's universe or intelligence, whatever works for you. My chosen word is God, so I will be speaking of God in this. But the idea of the thing itself is that embedded within us is God's blueprint. The absolute presence and power and beingness of God is in and through us as us. We don't believe in a God that sits up here in the sky somewhere judging us. We believe in a divine intelligence that exists within us that is the truth of our being, and that we create our world from that beingness within us, from that God that lives inside of us. That the heart that beats within my heart is the heart of God. The life that lives itself through me. We believe in a God that experiences life through us. And so when I talk about the thing itself as God, I'm talking about the thing itself as God within us. That power, that presence, that beingness that we create from within us. So that's the thing itself. So today we're going to talk about the way it works. And the way it works is love and law. We have on the one hand, the love of God. And on the other hand, the spiritual laws of God, the spiritual laws of the universe. Okay. And so I'm going to address the events as they have unfolded in the last week in a different way than perhaps you will hear other places. We don't believe in a rescue 911 God. We believe we all have free will here on this planet. We were created with free will. So there is no God that is going to come down and rescue us from all of this stuff that we are experiencing. Nor do we believe in a God that would wish any of this on us. And so what we come to is that this is a creation that collectively we have created. Now, you may say, no, I didn't create this. Wasn't me. I didn't do this. I can see why you feel that way. But if it's in my awareness, it means I created it. Now, please understand there's a difference between blaming ourselves for what we've created, for our creations, and taking responsibility for what we've created. I want you to see my posture very clearly, because when we come from a place of blame, oh my God, look what I've created. Oh my God, I'm helpless. You see? Or we can say, I created this so I can uncreate it. Now, I'm not saying we have the power to uncreate someone else's reality. We don't have that power. We have the power, however, to change our own reality by our thoughts. We can change our thoughts and our beliefs and our feelings, and we can create a reality we want to see. And hopefully, in fact, I do know it's possible, that when there's enough of us in that consciousness, when there's the second coming of Christ, in my opinion, in the opinion of our philosophy, is the second coming of Christ is when everyone in the world, or the majority of the people in the world, get the message that Jesus brought us, which is the Christ lives within us. And when we live from our Christ being, when we love from our Christ being, when we worship from our Christ being, when we live that way, then enough of us do that, the world will change. And so I do think we have the power, all of us within us, to change what's going on in the world. I don't know that some people just are not going to get the message. And we have to be okay with that. We have to be okay that people are willing to harm others. We just have to live with that, because we don't have any control over that. Control is an illusion anyway. What we do have control over is whether we participate in watching the news, in becoming overcome by the news. Now, I'm not going to lie. I had a couple of days there where it was difficult. And, you know, being a minister, I get in judgment of myself sometimes, because I feel like I have this greater obligation to see the spiritual truth no matter what's going on. And a student of mine, actually, and a good friend, minister, reminded me, what was that, Thursday, finally, that we need to experience our grief. If we've got grief, we need to experience it. We need to let it happen. We're not doing spiritual bypass here. We're not, when we say we see the spiritual truth beyond the circumstances, if we've got feelings around it, we need to clear those feelings up before we can move on to that place of knowing the spiritual truth. So what I suggest to all of us here today, whether you're watching this in real time or you're watching it at a later date, is that we keep in mind that God is all there is, that we live in a reciprocal universe, meaning what we give out is what we get back. What we think, we receive. What we do with our life, we create more of. And so these people, although we don't talk about heaven and hell as a place that you go after you die. We talk about heaven and hell as a state of consciousness here in this world right now. And I ask you, those people that stormed Congress, do you think they're happy? You think they're in heaven right now? They might have had a few moments of joy, but I guarantee you they are in hell. And that's what we need to focus our attention on, is what kind of a world do we want to create for ourselves? Do we want to be in heaven, or do we want to be in hell? And so once we've had the grief moment and we've been able to process that grief and move past it, once we are able to see the spiritual truth that God is above all, behind all, under all, God is there no matter what. And that these circumstances that we've been experiencing are the apparent opposite of God's truth. I say apparent opposite because they only appear. They are not real. The only real thing is God. So back to last week, all there is God. And this week, when we talk about the way it works through love and law. So I'm going to talk a little bit about love, because the love that I'm talking about is not the kind of love that we have in a relationship. It's not the kind of love that has conditions on it that says, if you do this, I will love you. If you act this way, I will feel loved. That's not the kind of love I'm talking about. God is the name we give to that love. Love is, I see it like a funnel. Let's put it that way. I see us as channeling God's love. We receive God's love in like a funnel, a big funnel above our head. And then I see another funnel that comes out from our hearts to other people. We can't participate in that practicing that unconditional love if we're not open to receive it, to give it and receive it. That's why I love that song that we just played, Karen Drucker's song. Let me be an open channel. Let me give and then receive. Because when we're giving love, we are receiving love. So if we are angry, and if our hearts have hatred in them, love and hate cannot coexist. Love and hate cannot be present in the same person, in the same body, ever. They cancel each other out. So our focus on love has to be strong, has to be the only focus. And God's love loves everybody the same. We say in our philosophy that God's love is impartial and impersonal. Some people might say, that doesn't sound very comforting. It is to me. It's impartial as if, let's take electricity, for example. It's impartial. It doesn't matter who flips on the light switch. It's going to turn on. It doesn't matter whether you're black or white or yellow or blue. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. It doesn't matter if you are old or young. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. No matter what gender you are, it's going to turn on. I had this experience when I was about 18. I was living in this apartment building, and the lady who was responsible for cleaning all the units, when people moved out, and her family lived down on the corner down below. And I got to be friends with them, and she invited me to go to Tennessee with her. And when I say go to Tennessee, I mean go to Tennessee. We were up in the hills, like way, way, way in the hills. And my mom is from Tennessee, which is part of why I wanted to see Tennessee, because I wanted to see where my mom came from. Now, she came from Knoxville. Where we were was way, way up in the hills in Jellicoe, Tennessee. And it was a different experience up there. I have to say, it was totally, totally different. And I'm sure to this day, it's probably still very, very different. But what was interesting to me, because I was raised with electricity, I was raised knowing that I turn a light switch on and it goes on and there's light. I couldn't even imagine at that age what it was like to live without electricity. So we were staying with this family, and the woman was so proud of her electricity. They had just gotten electricity in their house. And every day, like 15 times a day, she would walk over and she'd say, see, I flip the switch and it turns on. And I walk over here and I turn the switch off and the lights go off. She was so amazed by that. And at the time, being 18, I'm like, what is the deal with that? Now, I've had some times where I've had to live without electricity, not for long periods, but I've had some times now where I get it. There's been times like the water heater went out one time. I was taking a shower and I was shampooing my hair, and all of a sudden the hot water heater went out. And so I had to rinse my hair out in ice cold water. And I thought, oh my God, that's how she lived. I think about those things as I go. But the one nice thing about electricity is it doesn't matter if it's a person up in Jellicoe, Tennessee, who is turning that light switch on and off, or me who turns on the light switch with Google Voice these days, or Oz who uses, what is it called? Oh, Alexa, who uses Alexa to turn on the lights. It doesn't matter. Electricity works the same for everybody. And gravity is another one. God is the name that we give to spiritual law, just like gravity is the name we give to physical law. Okay. Gravity works no matter who you are or where you are. Well, that's not true. Up in space, it doesn't work as well. But everywhere else on the planet, gravity is gravity, and it works no matter who uses it. It doesn't go, well, you're gay, so you're going to be lifted up into the sky, or, you're practicing witchcraft, so you're going to, go to the bottom of the ocean. It doesn't work that way. Gravity is the same for everybody. And so what's perfect about that, what I love about that, is that I know that the spiritual principles, the spiritual laws of the universe work no matter who uses them. So that means I can use them. That might sound a little weird, but I'll get to that in a minute. The spiritual laws are available to all of us, no matter gender, no matter sexual preference, no matter, color, race, creed, religion. It doesn't matter. The spiritual laws of the universe are available because they are impartial. And they're impersonal, which again, you might say that doesn't sound very comforting. Well, I think it is. I'll tell you why. I was raised in an Orthodox synagogue. And the teaching there was very clear that God had a preference for boys and men. That women were there to have babies. The bloodline runs through us, so we got that credit. But women were only there for that purpose. And the value was placed on the little boys and the men. And that was very damaging to a girl like me. Some girls, I guess, get through it. I couldn't abide by it. But there was this idea that God was a father figure, a wise judge in the sky with these white robes and this white beard and this white hair, and that God could choose to like someone and dislike someone else. Not that he dislikes women in the Jewish religion. It's more that we performed a perfunctory thing. And there was a lot of judgment because Eve was the first one to take the bite of the apple and talk Adam into sinning, the first sin. And because of that, we suffer, with cramps and childbirth and all of those things. And I couldn't abide by that version of God. So what I love about the impersonal nature of God is that no matter who you are, God loves you exactly the same as everyone else. And you can never do anything to lose that love. We are born with freedom of will, free choice. And because of that, God loves us enough to let us make mistakes and to suffer the consequences of those mistakes. And that's the lesson for us, for all of us. That when we love somebody unconditionally, what we love is that they may fall and hurt themselves, and we let that happen. It doesn't mean we love them any less. And that is the way God loves us. True unconditional love that we seek in relationships is actually seeking God's unconditional love, because no one on earth can give us that love the way God can. We're attracted to people in relationships because we inherently know that God lives inside that other being as much as it lives inside of us. Now, that's not a conscious thing. Please understand that I know that we aren't consciously going, gee, I like that person because I think God resides within them. But unconsciously, we are attracted to that. And as long as we're attached to love coming in a certain way, to be packaged in a certain way, or look a certain way, or feel a certain way, or have to have certain actions by that person, God can't come through those ideas. We aren't able to receive. Now I'm going to talk more about what we call our affirmative prayer is a science of mind treatment, because we are treating the consciousness to be more in alignment with God. Instead of saying, please God, help me, we are saying, God is helping me now. You see, big difference. But when we are ready to receive, we have prepared ourselves to be open to the influx of God in whatever form it's taking. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about love or health or money, it's the same thing. We live in a reciprocal universe. If I'm open to receive money, I give and receive money. If I'm open to health, meaning I give healthy vibes, I align my consciousness with the vibration of health, and I receive health in return for that. If I give love and receive love, since I'm in a reciprocal universe, I'm open to receive that. I want you to participate with me just really quickly in a little exercise that shows you what happens when you stay the flow of whatever it is, money, health, love, whatever it is. I want you to take a deep breath for me and hold it, and take another deep breath and hold it. Don't release it. Take in more breath. At some point you can't, okay, let go. At some point you just can't do that. You have to let go. In order to receive God's love, I have to let go of the idea that love has to come a certain way. I have to let go of anything that I'm holding against anyone else. I have to let go of all of those ideas so I can let love in. I have to give of my I have to give abundance with the attitude of prosperity, with the attitude of an endless supply, because God is my source, so that I may be open to receive 10 times that amount. I have to align my consciousness with health so that I may receive a healthy body. And if I've prepared myself to be open to that influx of God through another person, then I'm going to feel love and feel loved. And it's only when I'm not open to that that I have to see love a certain way, or I can't feel loved. And sometimes our funnels get a little clogged by what we think love should be. Now, Ernest Holmes, he focused mostly on law. He didn't really understand love that much. Even though he was raised by a mother who loved him, even though he had a wife who was our first practitioner of our faith, even though he really was loved, he didn't really think love was that important. So a little history, just a quick history. Dr. Ernest Holmes, who's our founder, read the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson and was very inspired by those words, that there was an oversoul and that we participated in godness through that oversoul. He was inspired by all of the concepts that Ralph Waldo Emerson had. Ralph Waldo Emerson didn't have like step by step, here's how you do it. What he had was these big concepts of transcendental, ism. And Ernest Holmes was so inspired by all of that it caused him to be the seeker. He used to call himself the question mark. I can relate to that because he got kicked out of more churches than I got kicked out of synagogues. Because he was always the human question mark. He was always questioning everything. When I question things in the in the Jewish faith, they teach us in Judaism to question everything, but you don't question that. You don't question how God could love men more than women. You don't question whether God's love extends to everybody. You don't question those things. So I was the human question mark as well. So I can really relate to Dr. Ernest Holmes in that respect. And like I said, he used to get kicked out of churches all the time, out of, Sunday school. And, and so what happened was he became this eternal seeker for what the truth was. And he came upon the works of a judge named Thomas Troward in England. Well, he was English. He was in India. And he was passing judgment over the Indian citizens. And he started thinking, in order to pass judgment here, I really have to have an understanding of who they are and what they believe and what their society is about. So he started to study the Hindu faith. And he began to see correlations between Christianity and the Hindu faith. And he started really understanding where the two come together. And so in his judgments, they adored him because he always took that into account. But what he was really good at was explaining how spiritual law works. And so Ernest Holmes found him and found his works and ran around the country doing lectures on spiritual law. And then he founded the Institute of Religious Science, which was a school where no matter what faith you were in, you could come there, learn about how spiritual laws work, and then take it back to whatever religion you were practicing. It wasn't until his followers decided that he needed to have a church or be a church that we ended up with churches. But what's important to note is he found a woman named Emma Curtis Hopkins who taught a lot about mysticism. Her whole thing was mysticism. But in the nugget of mysticism is the aspect of God's love, is the teaching of God's love. And so that's how he learned about love. What he learned from Emma Curtis Hopkins was that love comes from meditation, prayer, and receptivity. So that's what we practice. That's what we do to encourage that reciprocal nature of God. And all we have to do is sit in the silence and be open to it, and love will find a way to walk through our doors. Now, like I said, I had a few days of really hard time with all of this that's been going on. So my consciousness is not quite as advanced as Ernest Holmes. And I will say that he opened a practice and he didn't do any advertising, but his consciousness was, his mental equivalent was so strong that he just knew that people would come to him. So he sat in his office and meditated and prayed, and actually people wandered in the door for him to help him. Now we still have to do advertising. Maybe one of these days I will reach that consciousness level. That's what I strive for. So we still need to do advertising. But it was the drawing power of God that drew people to him. Some of them wandered in the door not even knowing why they were coming, and found themselves listening to him and finding truth and being healed. Now let me say a little bit about mental equivalence for a minute. You might be questioning what that is. Very wealthy people, like the Olsen twins, for example, who've been raised with a lot of money, if you drop them on a deserted island somewhere and they had a way of making money somehow, they would. They'd be fine. They'd be able to create wealth again. You drop someone like you or I in that same set of circumstances, and we'd be struggling. That's because they have a mental equivalence for prosperity and abundance. And so what's important for us to note is that our mental equivalence, like a cup, needs to be expanded to the flow of love, expanded to health, expanded to prosperity and abundance. It needs to be expanded. And it's all based on what we believe and what we have faith in. Buddy's off the perch. Duchess, leave Buddy alone. Sorry. Oh well. I'll just trust. Everything's fine. Duchess and Buddy have this really good relationship. Buddy likes to eat. Buddy is my bird. He's a cockatoo. And I eat eggs every morning, and so fried eggs. And so I give him fried eggs, and he will sit on his perch, and Duchess, who is a dog, she's a Belgian Malinois, she's a year old, will come up and lick one of his feet to get all the egg off of it. And then he'll put that foot down and he'll put the other one up so she can lick the other one. They have a very good relationship. However, I'm always worried that he's going to get trampled and hurt her, or that he's going to get hurt when he gets off the perch and she runs at him. But they love each other. It's very cute. All right. So anyway, let's talk about faith and belief for a minute. The difference between faith and belief is that belief can be changed. I can have a belief that when I sit in this chair, it's going to support me, excuse me. And if by some chance this chair were to collapse under me, that would change my belief, wouldn't it? Would I ever trust again that a chair would actually support me without checking it out? Probably not. If I have faith, I am unshakable in that belief. I have a faith that the sun will rise every morning. You see, if I'm in belief, I might see sure, whatever the word is, an eclipse, and it might shake my belief that the sun always shines, always comes up in the morning. However, if I have faith that the sun will come up every morning, my faith tells me that underneath that eclipse is still the sun. That's the difference between faith and belief. Faith is an unshakable belief, where belief can be changed. Does that make sense? So what we have faith in and what we have a mental equivalence for creates the consciousness through which we create our lives. And please understand that superstition doesn't have a place in all of this. I know a lot of times we say and think things. All thought is creative. However, it's only creative to a certain extent. There's a little formula that I like to use. The preponderance of our beliefs or the preponderance of our thoughts are what is going to create a big thing. And it's a darn good thing that's true, because we have something like, 400 thoughts a minute, right? So can you imagine, I want that. No, I don't. Yeah, I want that. No, I don't. Yeah, I want that. No, I don't. And things popping in and out of our reality every time I have that thought. Now, I'm not conscious of, probably 3/4 of those thoughts. I'm only conscious of a few of them, and luckily so. So that's the formula I use. What is the preponderance of our thoughts that is going to create our reality? And the second part of that formula is the emotion behind it. I like to think of it as the thoughts are the vehicle, and the emotion that is behind it is what fuels those thoughts, fuels that reality. So we can create whatever reality we want. And yes, we are responsible for creating our own reality. Does that mean that I created coronavirus by myself? No. Does that mean that I created what happened at the Capitol building by myself? No. That was a collective experience. And so I had my part in it. My part in it is, if it's in my awareness, it's something I created. Again, we're taking responsibility. If I created it, I can uncreate it, rather than, oh my God, look what I created, right? So since we know there is a divine presence, an infinite power and infinite intelligence that lives within us, that is the power and presence and the intelligence of God, our very makeup. It is who and what we are, our very essence, our very life, our very being. Because we have free will, we are able to do what we need to do to learn the lessons we want to learn. There's no God person out there that is deciding we have to be in this situation so we can learn a specific lesson. That's not the God we believe in. We believe that we set ourselves up for the experiences we have so we can learn the lesson, because God's just trying to experience life through us. And we are on our own for how we create that experience. We have free will. So God's not saying, I'm going to set up a test for you. We're setting up a test for ourselves so that we can now go through these lessons and come out with a very more enlightened version of our reality. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about law. Ernest Holmes says, we live in a universe of love as well as a universe of law. One is the complement of the other. The universe of love pulsating with feeling, with emotion, and the universe of law, the executor of all feeling and all emotion. So it's no coincidence that we equate lovemaking and creating babies with love. God created us out of love, so why wouldn't we create human or animal babies out of the love itself? That's the impetus, the creative force, the impetus for that love. And it's not only babies, but the babies of our invention. Think about it for a minute. When you look around your world, what do you see? Those are the babies of your invention. Those thought forms that you have created, that have actually manifested in physical form. Those are the babies of invention, what love has created. I know it doesn't feel that way sometimes. God, I know. Sometimes I look around and I think, oh my God, oh boy, what did I? Oh, I created that too. Oh boy. But the reality is I did it because I have free will. And we cannot create without both love and law. So I'm going to put up our teaching symbol real quick, and I'm going to go over why that is so important to us. All right. So first of all, the first thing that you see is a circle. That is the unbroken unity of life. It is also the reciprocal nature of life. And because it's unbroken and cannot be broken, we have divided it into 3 parts as a way of demonstrating how the process of spiritual law works. And the very top portion is conscious mind. The middle portion is subjective mind. The bottom portion is form. That's the manifestation. And the V that comes through it is conscious thought coming through the subjective material into form and returning back to the nothingness from which it came. Think about when you plant a garden. The seed is that conscious thought. That seed that we plant in the soil, that middle part there, becomes the plant in the bottom part, in that form. And then when the cycle of growth is over, that plant returns back into the nothingness from which it came. Everything in life has that same cycle of life. Everything. So when we talk about God and God's love as a perfect example, God's love is up there in that conscious mind. God's impetus to create us, that thought that I want to create the human race so that I may experience life. When we look at that symbol, we know that that upper part is that thought that created us. That middle portion is the matter of God. That's the substance of God. So God, thinking itself through its own matter, created us in that bottom portion as human doings, not human beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And then eventually, at the end of our existence as human doings, we return back to the nothingness from where it came. As human doings, we have this conscious thought. And our process of creation is the same. We have this conscious thought that lives in that conscious mind up above. And everything in that middle portion is everything that has ever happened to us and our reactions to it. I think of it as like a computer, where the computer disk stores everything that's ever happened to us and how we've reacted to us. And in that middle portion there, we take our conscious thought and we put it through those reactions to create form, the manifestation of our desires, and then it returns back to the nothingness from which it came. So let's take abundance as a perfect example. When I have the consciousness of abundance and I move that through that subjective material, it can happen 2 ways. If I have that conscious thought, it can go all the way to form. I can go through that subjective material into form, or I can use that conscious thought, get to the subjective mind. The subjective mind goes, you don't deserve money. You don't deserve abundance. You don't deserve prosperity. Or it might say, money doesn't last, or somebody could take your money. All of those thoughts, all those beliefs, money doesn't grow on trees. All of that is stored in that middle section. And so it won't ever get to manifestation. So we spend a lot of time working on that subjective material that is stored in the middle there. So it bounces back. It goes from conscious mind to subjective mind and then bounces right back to where it came from, conscious mind. And we never get to the manifestation. Let's take another example. When you first learn how to drive a car, you have to have conscious thought for everything that you do. I must put my foot on the brake now. I must put my foot on the gas now. I must look in the rearview mirror. Now think about how many more accidents and how much harder it would be to get around if every time we drove, we had to think about every little thing that we did. So there's something in the subjective mind that allows us to move into an autopilot, so to speak, so that we can then focus our attention on, okay, that car over there is doing this, and this is where I need to turn. We start applying the conscious mind to those things instead of having to worry about all the little pieces and parts. Now, autopilot is a good thing in some cases. It is what keeps us breathing. It's what keeps our heart beating. Those are just autopilot functions. Where we get into trouble is that a lot of times our manifestations are coming from that subjective material. They are coming from something that happened to us when we were a kid, and we formed a belief based on that thing that happened as a kid, and we can no longer experience love or prosperity or health in that physical realm. You see? So what happens is it goes through that, it starts in that subjective material, creating poverty as a feedback loop because we've been in poverty all of our lives, and it goes back up to the subjective mind and blows away. Or I've been sickly my whole life. I can't possibly be healthy. I'm not pretty. I'm not lovable. What do you think? In that middle portion, all of those things are stored there. And so we're creating from that. Somebody said democracy, somebody on, I think it was TikTok, said that democracy is a danger to white supremacy. Why? Because they have to treat everybody the same. So think about where that white supremacy lies. It lies in that middle portion right there. And so they're creating this reality based on that fear that they're experiencing. They don't even know why they fear it. There's no conscious mind happening. It's a gut reaction from fear, and they're reacting and causing things in that form until it returns back to the nothingness from which it came. So our job this week, as we move through all of this, is to, number one, work on what's in that subjective mind, work on what beliefs we are carrying, work on what has happened in our lives that is causing us to create from that reality. And to know that God is more powerful than any of this stuff. To know that in the end, it is all going to come out okay. Oz does astrology. And he was just telling us this morning that by the end of January, all the upheaval should be gone. Thank you, God. And so I want us to focus our attention on what it says in the Bible. This too shall pass. Knowing our safety, knowing our ability to use God's love to change the world, knowing our ability to change our experience by just focusing our attention on the love of God, on the truth of God, on the will of God, on the beingness of God within us. Will you do that with me this week? Let's have a prayer. I right now move my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful, how present God is. I move my awareness right now to that knowingness beyond human understanding, that God is all powerful, always present, always has been, always will, and always is. The only presence there is right here, right now. Only God. And so I know that that is the truth about me, my very essence, my very life, my very beingness. It is who and what I am. And every action, every deed, every thought is guided and led by that one infinite power, that one infinite presence, that divine intelligence that moves through me. I am the love of God as Tucker. And I allow that love to move through me as the only essence of life that I have. I know this same truth to be so for God's team that I have the honor and privilege of managing. For I know that Faith and Oz and Lynn are one in that infinite power and presence of God. That as we move together as a team, what we do is the actions that allow God's message to come through easily and effortlessly. For it is who and what we are. And I know that same truth to be so for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today. I know that same truth to be so for all who are watching here, whether that be in real time or later on. For there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. That unbroken circle of life means we are all one. Mitakuye Oyasin, we are all one. And so I bless this coming week with our knowingness that God prevails, love prevails, that the love of God flowing through each of us, the consciousness that we celebrate, the Christ consciousness that lives within us is more powerful than any appearance of anything other than that. Anything that appears to be unlike God disappears from our awareness. And we just allow the love of God to flow through us easily and effortlessly. That we have more and more experiences of that beauty and essence and love of God. The more we focus on, the more we create. So I accept that here. As I accept it for every name that is in the ministry of prayer, I know that the power and presence of God is far more powerful than the appearance of any condition we are experiencing. And so I pull back the veil. I bring forth the truth of God in this situation. I claim it. I claim it in their name here and now as good and very good. And as I call it forth, I give thanks that it is so. My heart fills with gratitude as I just let this be. And so it is. Amen. Oh, goodness gracious. So now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express your gratitude for that which you have already experienced manifest in physical form, and that which you have already created in the mind, the conscious mind of God, and have not yet perhaps seen in physical manifestation yet. All right, and we are giving thanks for that. We are blessing it. So we're going to do an offering affirmation here in a moment to bless that gift, because we know that that which we bless returns to us tenfold. And because we know that we want it to prosper everyone, that when we give our gift, it not only prospers us, but it prospers everyone else as well. And let me just take a moment to say that what you're giving to is the message of God coming through us to the world. That getting our message out into the world is what is funded by your contributions. So join us now at oasiscsl.org. Go please to oasiscsl.org. On that first page, about the middle of the page, you will see our offering affirmation. And then there's a contribute button at the bottom of that. And so whether you're watching this in real time or you're watching it later, please say the offering affirmation with us right now. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. And here is faith.
First I plant a seed, first I plant a seed in the corner of my mind. It's a seed of love, a very special kind. First I plant a seed in the corner of my mind. and I water it with thoughts and loving kindness too. Then I watch it grow and grow and grow and grow. Then I watch it grow in everything I do. First I plant a seed in the corner of my mind. It's a seed of friendship, a very special kind. First I plant a seed in the corner of my mind, and I water it with thoughts of friends so dear and true. Then I watch it grow and grow and grow and grow. Then I watch it grow in all my friends like you. First I plant a seed in the corner of my mind. It's a seed of peace and a very special kind. First I plant a seed in the corner of my mind. Then I water it with thoughts of peace for everyone. Then I watch it grow and grow and grow and grow. Then I watch it grow for everyone. Peace for everyone. Everyone in the sun. And at the moment, snow, because it snowed in Colorado.
Yes, God is in the snow as much as it is in the sun. Yes. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. And if anybody knows where that song came from, please let us know. We would love to be able to find that music somewhere. We don't know how, Lynn found it somewhere and now he doesn't remember where he found it. And Tina and I have been trying to find it and we couldn't find it. So
I searched too, and
I know.
it's a great
I-
song.
It exists. It's just where it is, who knows? So thank you very much, Faith. All right, I'm going to do these announcements really quick because I know we're running over and I apologize. And thank you for being patient with us and sticking around. I know that, I had to digress a little bit today. I had the whole sermon and then, stuff happens. So first of all, please know that we have a ministry of prayer. And so if you are having a circumstance that you would like prayer for, please put it in the comments. If you don't want it to be public, you can always message one of us and Faith will make sure it gets on the ministry of prayer, or I will. We have a private page, a group page for the God Squad. And that's where those requests go. As speaking of the God Squad, we have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who are available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance. So what you do is you go, you contact them, find out how you're going to either Venmo or whatever app you're going to use to get payment to them, and they will set up an appointment, and then they will video chat you to talk to you. And Oz is available for what we call our 1 minute miracle today. And that's a time for counseling, not a time where it's not a time for counseling. It's a time where you can share whatever condition you are experiencing and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. If you would like to participate in our God Squad, you do not have to be a licensed practitioner. You have to be willing to do affirmative prayer for every day for a week and be willing to follow through on that. So if you would like to do that, type yes in the comment section. And if you would like to be part of our public facing group page that gets all of the information before we make it public anywhere else, type more in the comment field and Faith will get you on our public facing group page. That's our internet, our online community that we have. All right, I am beginning a Foundations of Science of Mind class. We're going to be meeting on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. That would be 5 p.m. Pacific Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you who can't do that math in your head, I'm not very good at it either, but I'm managing. The Foundations of Science of Mind class in total is 10 weeks and it's $300. But Faith and I have worked out a way to make this work. So the first 5 classes you can take at $30 a class if you want. We have set up a Venmo account, which Faith has put up there so that we can, you didn't put it up there?
Not yet. I'm still figuring out the link, but as soon as I do, it will be on our Facebook page for Oasis Center for Spiritual Living.
Okay, awesome. All right, so if you have any interest, if you're brand new to this philosophy, this is a great way for you to really understand what we teach and for you to make changes in your life. I've had so many miracles come from people taking the Foundations of Science of Mind class. We start out the class by forming an intention for the 10 weeks, and you say where you're at from 1 to 10 now, and in 10 weeks people pretty much meet their goals, unless they're very unrealistic goals, but we try to help you refine those goals. But people have had really miracles in their life from taking this class. And if you've taken the class before, we're going to set up an audit fee for you. So if you are taking it for the first time, you can pay $30 to come to that first class. Once Faith gets it figured out, you'll pay for the class, you'll come to the class, then you'll pay for the next class, you'll come to that class. You can drop at any time. There won't be any refunds because you aren't paying in advance. And so by the 5th class, we are going to ask that you do the $150. That will take you to the end of the class. So that way, after the 5th class, I should say. Is it 5th? Yeah. And so that way, I know funds are tight right now, so we're not making everybody pay $300 up front. We're trying to do this in a way that's easy and effortless for everyone. Let me see whether in the comments, I'm sure it's okay. And somebody's private chatting me. Oh, okay. That's fine. We can do that. Okay, so, and then... So that's, and if you want to take it for an audit fee because you've taken it before, it's $30 for the entire 10 weeks. And so Home Office, our parent organization, keeps records of who has taken the class. If you've taken it at another church, we will honor that. I'll check with Home Office and get that information. You just have to let me know what organization you took it from. All right, and so let's see. Bracelets and mala beads from Brooks and Bailey. I have a new one that she sent me. It's so nice. This is it. See that? I love that clasp. And I talked about it last week. I'm not going to talk too much about it because we're running out of time here. But here is the link for her. All proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue. You can reach them through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail. Faith already has that up. I want to also say go to Brooks Limited. She has wonderful clothing, one-of-a-kind stuff. Update your wardrobe with a whole new wardrobe, or update your wardrobe by just getting a one classy piece that dresses everything else up and updates it. All right. So that's Brooks Ltd. Faith has that on the thing. Elaine Silver's music, Reverend Fairy Elaine. Go to her website. You will have to contact her to find out where to send the money because she's not able to update her website. You can buy her CDs there. Karen Drucker's music is available by song or by album, and or by CD, I should say. We don't do albums anymore. That shows my age. She has gifted us with her entire collection so that we can use it on Sundays. So we like to support her. So please go and buy a song, buy a CD, buy a songbook, buy, sing-along stuff, whatever you can. And then also check out our website, oasiscsl.org. We're probably going to have the link for the classes at that point too, not just on Facebook. I'm going to leave that up to Faith. She's going to figure that out. Let's move into our closing song really quickly here. If you know the words, sing along. It's a great way to get the meme in your head to set you up for blessings to abound.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I know that despite the turmoil and the chaos and the seeming unending activity around me, that there is always a still central place where there is peace. And in that place is the infinite power of God, always calm, always blessing, always good, always pushing forward into a new and better place. I have no fear, for there is always that ultimate and infinite strength supporting and upholding me and all that I love. And I know this is true for each of you. The perfection and peace and splendor of the ultimate being is always right here, right now. I know this is good, and I let it be so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, all of you, for being here. We love you. Stay safe out there. And remember, God loves you, and we love you too. Bye for now. See you next Sunday.